Welcome to the Healing Corner podcast, where we're having honest conversations in a safe place since 2022.
I'm excited. I'm excited because there's so much coming in that needs to happen.
For some reason, the intro is not playing. You just click it, yeah? Okay, hold on.
Welcome to the Healing Corner podcast, where we're having honest conversations in a safe place since 2022.
I'm excited. I'm excited because there's so much coming in that needs to happen. You know, and it's like, when is a better time than now?
Let's now.
Happen. Let's do this thing. You know.
Yeah.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the Healing Corner podcast, where we're having real conversations since 2022. I am Coach Yams, and I have my co-host here with me, Deb. We are going to introduce ourselves, and then we are going to get into today's topic, living liberated, navigating non-monogamous relationships. Deb, introduce yourself. I'll introduce me, and then we'll get this party started.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Deborah Williams. I am owner of Deb's Healing Cornerstone. If you're interested in finding out any of the services I provide, definitely check out debshealingcornerstone.com.
Yes. And I am Yamana, known on the internet as Coach Yams, and I'm helping professional millennial women to live unapologetically on purpose and to stop doing shit out of obligation, because we have the right to live how we see fit for ourselves. And if you're interested in any of the things that I offer, virtual dance parties, coaching services, whatever the case may be, go to coachyams.com. So yes, let us get into this topic, living liberated, navigating non-monogamous relationships. So what I will say is that I wanted to have this conversation because this is a space that I have personally been exploring. And also I think it's a space that a lot of people are curious and maybe are exploring. They don't even realize that they are. And so having a conversation about a thing, it's what we do here. And so, yeah. Do you have anything that you want to say to start things off, like question wise or anything, Deb?
Okay. Well, I think that right now what's going on in society, the way that dating is and the way that, approaching that love, I guess, your love life has been changed significantly. So we're just here to, kind of touch on a few things that maybe personally we've experienced and how we've been handling our side of the world or our place in life, So I hope that you guys take something from it. I don't know if you want to start, Yams, and kind of talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about.
So I will give a definition that the internet gives for a term that I've learned about fairly recently called ethical non-monogamy, ENM for short. It's the practice of taking part in romantic relationships that are not completely exclusive between two people. And one thing that I thought was very interesting that was mentioned recently is that when you think about it, dating, being in the space of dating, we're all kind of like non-monogamous, right? Because when you're in the phase of dating, you're not committed necessarily. And so, yeah, I don't think that we've learned, I can't speak for everybody, but I do know that I feel like I've not learned how to date, how to healthy relationship in a romantic dynamic, and how to have those conversations. And I feel like that stems from a lot of, growing up for me looked like being raised by a single mother whose don't know if her education was limited, but what she shared with me about engaging with the opposite sex and just what she demonstrated in her own relationship informed me of how to go about a thing, right? Because a lot of us do things based on what we've been shown or what we've been taught. And stepping outside of that, giving myself space to step outside of that this year and explore what doing things outside of a traditional relationship look like was interest to me for a few different reasons. One, because I like to go against the grain sometimes and do things that other people aren't necessarily that's not the norm. That's like not what everybody else is doing, because we've been doing things the way that we've been told that we should do them. And you know how that goes, however that's gone for you. It's been okay. I've learned a lot of lessons along the way. But I feel like I've arrived at a space in life where I need to know more about myself and about how to engage with other people. And I think that this is a way to figure out a thing.
Yeah. I love it. When I think about my background and like where I came from and the family dynamic that I had both of my parents. They were married actually, and they lived together since I was born. So that was the example that I seen growing up. It was a very religious household too. So it's open, Jasmine. Hold on, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it made it a.
Oh, you froze up on us, Dad.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Here you go.
Okay. Yeah. The things that I've experienced, when it comes to dating and relationships, it hasn't been like my parents are from like one was born in the 30s, one was born in the 50s. You know what I'm saying? It's been outdated. And what I'm seeing in the culture that we have right now, things are not the same at all. Dating life is not the same at all. There's some people that, they want to explore and experience a lot of different things. And then some people just want to be left alone, and I feel like I'm going through the space in life where I just want to be left alone, even though I've dated, or whatever you want to call it, experienced different relationships and stuff like that. But I'm in the phase of my life where I'm just like, I just want peace. And, once I get that inner peace, then I feel like then I can expand it out towards being in some type of connection, and be able to discover. So me and Yams are like on two different spectrums, she's experiencing life and I'm just in that hermit energy, or just kind of trying to get myself a landing. I also went through an experience where I just lost my father. So that really kind of made me feel kind of shook. Like my foundation was a little bit shook. So I'm trying to get back to I'm trying to learn what life is like without having that part of me or that parent, and just structuring that. But I do think about, when I am prepared, how is it going to look? Because again, everything's changing so much. You really just don't know from year to year what it's going to be like.
Sometimes from week to week, you don't know what it's going to be like, because we change daily.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that it's interesting that, you're on the complete opposite end from where I'm at, because I was there for at least 5 years. I stayed in the space of I don't want to be bothered. I need space to myself. I need time to figure things out. I'm working through things, releasing old patterns, all the things. Are you frozen, Deb? I think so. But anyway, I was in that space for a stretch of time, years. And then I got to a space where I was open to dating. And so it was an evolution. It's not something that I arrived at overnight by any means. And if we're just like giving a little bit of backstory so that there's like context to a thing. When I began the year, and I was open to dating. I started this year out wanting to get married, do the whole traditional, all the things. And then, you know, life be life and people getting to know each other, things go however they go. And then that forced me to dig inside of myself and unpack some things that I've not recognized that was present that needed to be dealt with. And so, you know, like abandonment issues, some codependency things I'm sorting through, some body shaming things that I needed to work through. It was a lot of layers of things that was not specifically tied to that breakdown of a situation, but it uncovered so many things that needed to be addressed. And then after I was able to start addressing those, I also stepped into swinger lifestyle spaces. And in being in that space, and in the mindset of being willing and open to meeting people and whatever that connection looks like, I have had some great connections with people just as humans. And it made me recognize that trying to force one person to be able to be a thing for me that I need in all regards is a tall fucking order. And to be able to have different people who can support and fill different needs outside of sex. Because sex is fun, you know, it's fun, it's healthy, it's a thing that we should all be partaking in, whether it's with yourself or with other people, safely. So yeah, like there's a lot of value that can come from having connections with people, period. And if it happens to come with some extra goodness, then you know, that's just the cherry on top. And so that being the experiences, then like, okay, well then do I want to like eliminate having excellent connections to only focus on and commit to and make that other person cut off and commit to a thing? No, it doesn't feel like it's what has to happen for there to still be a successful, healthy relationship. And so here we have arrived.
Yeah. I like your perspective on that, because like for me, I guess I would say I haven't experienced all the different aspects of the ways that people can be in relationships. I've always been, if I was dealing with somebody, it was always like to me on my side anyway, it was a monogamous you know, situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, again, it could have been because my parents, you know, were married, and I kind of just seen it as though you just need just one person. And even like now that I'm like alone, I still feel like
You froze up on us.
you know.
There you go. You froze up on us a little bit. I didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's how I feel about it personally, because you know what I've seen. I come to the realization like that label. I don't like the label of boyfriend and girlfriend, because I feel like, okay, to me, you know, boyfriend and girlfriend equates to like an immaturity, or that you're not able to handle the responsibility of like this person maybe wanting to deal with somebody else. So you got to put a label on it just to have something, but you also don't want to go full in. So it's like, to me, I feel like when I do decide to come into a connection, I don't want labels like that. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm a label to you, or you know, it just has to be natural. So that's another thing that society is kind of like, how do you not have a boyfriend, or how do you not have a girlfriend? And I'm just like, the label stuff. Like, why put a label on something and not allow it to flow freely, you know?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And language is an important part of this. Communication and language is a very important part of this space. In general, like connecting with people requires you to have conversation, have understanding, and all those things. And this is no different. It just so happens to involve intimacy as well.
Right.
And so I do think one of the things that I have dealt with in the past that I want to make sure I don't carry into my relationships going forward, because I'm with you. Like, I've been in relationship where
Can you see
I
me?
believe. Oh, I can see you and hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been in a relationship where I was under the impression that we were monogamous.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you find out that that's not the way that things have been going.
Mm-hmm.
And so to alleviate that bit of things as pressure that we put on another person, but also the challenge that I've placed on myself is to recognize and learn to live and move in a way in which I understand that whoever it is that I partner with in multiple ways, because I don't know what this looks like yet. I'm still figuring the thing out, but that nobody belongs to me and I belong to nobody. We share time, space, energy with each other, whoever that is, but we do not own one another. And I think that that is one piece that's really important with this label thing. Like, just because you throw a label on the thing don't mean you own it.
Exactly.
And so, moving in this space, there's a period where a roster was the goal and accomplished enough for it to be what I needed it to be. And I've recently transitioned into a space where things have gotten more involved and more connected in a deep way. And so the person that I'm figuring that out with, we're trying to figure out what words look like, but also what moving for both of us comfortably looks like in this space, because there ain't no rule book. There ain't no rule book. And so I think there's a lot of beauty and freedom in having someone being willing to navigate a thing with you, and the amount of transparency and vulnerability that comes with that is it's quite sexy, if I do say so myself.
But do say so myself, because I don't know why I just heard that. If I do say so myself.
If I do say so myself.
Yes. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I think about too, how, especially as you get older, it's like the stigma, like, oh, you're gonna be alone, and it's like, I don't know why people feel this way about, it's like you should be able to experience your life the way that you want to experience it. You shouldn't have anyone making you feel like you're wasting your life or you're missing out on something, because everything's supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen, And if it is like, okay, you are going through a phase where you want to experience a lot of different options, maybe one day, 20 years from now, you might be like, okay, now I might just want to just be, alone, or I might want to get into just a relationship, just one person. Who cares? Why do we have this, stigma of, and even when it comes to like women, like, I know this is a little bit off, but it got something to do with it at the same time, because people say, okay, well, when a woman is younger, they're more fertile. But then at the same time, if a younger woman has a child, if it's not in the way that everybody wants it to be, then it's wrong. So it's like, there's a lot of different stigmas that we have to break free from, y'all. We can't just allow that to be our all in all in the end,
There are a lot of rules that somebody made up, that served them. We are all still trying to operate by, and it ain't never served anybody. And, if we're going to call a thing, like back in the day when people was getting married and, husbands may be cheating and the wives are at the house, there was a time in which women didn't or couldn't work, and there was a dependency. And so, that's not life anymore. There's no one person that can't make a living for themselves in some regard. So there's no dependency. There's no need for survival.
Right.
And so we can stop trying to make what has previously worked fit current times, because these is not them times.
Exactly. Yep. It was more like you said, security, and then also I feel like, especially when it comes to our traditional background where people were not seen as having legal marriages and stuff. So I feel like it was at one time it was a rebellion to get married. Like I want to be able to have this label because I wasn't able to have this label. So like that's an era that we didn't grow up in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we look at it like we want to have somebody that's gonna. To me, you can be loyal to somebody and not have to have that type of, as long as you have the agreement and you know what's going on and you're being honest. Like communication is another issue that I feel people have when you're in a monogamous relationship sometimes, because they feel like they got to hide stuff because they don't want to be truthful or honest, or they feel like that's going to cause an issue, and whatever they got going on, they don't want to shake the, they just don't want to shake the foundation up.
Yeah.
But it's like if we go into a situation knowing what you want, then it wouldn't be as though you got to keep things hidden and secrets. And I was going to talk about tarot too, because we see on these tarot readings about karmics and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, like if you really want to get technical, we are karmics. Because there's something in your life that you did and you played that part. You played that part. And I feel like it's not nothing, it shouldn't be looked at as bad or negative, because those are still lessons. Everything is a lesson,
Absolutely.
So we have to like free ourselves, like let everybody free themselves, and then that way we can have a better outcome in life and not be just having a issue with each other for stuff because people didn't talk, or people, if they did talk, they didn't speak their intentions the clear way because they expecting, okay, well, this is a label, so I got to keep myself boxed in,
Yep. And being willing to have the hard conversations, because there's going to be times when you're not going to feel good about a thing, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to deal with it. And you can choose to not, but then you're going to have to circle back around to it, because like for instance, when you were speaking about people not being truthful, my experience has been because fear of rejection, of not getting somebody not getting their way, or just not having the understanding that when you're not truthful, you eliminate my choice. And that's a big thing for me. I think that it speaks volumes if someone I can respect you more if I can trust you and know that you're going to give me the choice, even if it's not going to work out in your best interest, because it's not about you. It's about me being able to have autonomy and things with myself and with my life and situation. You don't get to take that from me.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And also the religious aspect of this. I know I sent an article to you, and the thing that stood out to me in this particular article was speaking to purity culture, where there's been a lot of shame around sex outside of marriage, sex in general. Hell, women ain't supposed to enjoy sex in some of these spaces. Like, there's so many things. Sex is only supposed to be for reproduction, not for pleasure. Like, there's all of these rules. Do what makes you happy, as long as you're being safe and there's no children or animals involved. And that there is consent, because consent is huge. You have to have to ask, because that's part of choice. That is part of choice.
Exactly. I wonder if during the time that before our time, people just didn't think about the freedom of having that free choice. They just automatically put themselves in that label. Maybe that. I just try to figure out why we got to this point, and how we got to this point, because a lot of times that gives you a chance to see what not to do again, It's
Yeah.
like how when people say we never want to have a situation like the Holocaust, or we never want to have a situation where we're back into, these days. But it's like if you don't look back at what caused this whole situation, it's going to repeat itself again, you know?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Um, and just to add some more language, because we ain't got but 5 minutes left, but to throw a little bit more in there, swingers lifestyle is different than polyamory. There's a lot of different avenues in which non-monogamy can be a part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I recommend a book that I read that was recommended to me. It's called The Ethical Slut. I think the cover is purple. It's like volume 3 or something. But whatever one you can get your hands on, I got it from the local library. But it does a really good job of giving language to how to navigate relationships that are not traditional and how to communicate things effectively, like fighting fair and conflict resolution and all the things, all the skills that people should have to engage with other people in general.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that is a recommendation, whether you're monogamous or not, because, knowledge implemented is power.
Yes. Very much
Mm-hmm,
so.
mm-hmm.
Very much so. You're not going to get the one-on-one, if you read a book, but at least you'll get an overview of how it is. Or, and that's another thing that I noticed, like hidden things or they taboo things, not wanting to talk about things, not wanting to express things after experiencing things for 20-some, 30-some years, and just being honest about it could make a change, make a difference. I feel like there's like a divide between not only sexuality and what you believe and stuff like that, but also in just everyday the ages are feeling like, okay, well, there's like blurred lines. Hold on, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But
You're
yeah,
fine.
so I really feel like we're gonna get to that point where people feel more free to be able to be themselves. Because, like I said, when I see the situations in tarot, and I see the situations where in real life, people are, it's getting to the point where some people are losing their lives because of these labels, or because of somebody not telling the truth, or somebody trying to hide things. Like, this is getting serious, y'all. We can't pretend that this is
Literally.
just something that's just a pushover and it's not a big deal. Like, it's getting
Can't.
bad, and people don't even feel safe to be around the opposite sex sometimes, and that's like really not cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very dangerous. I actually had a friend last night tell me about a friend who was getting to know someone and all the things, and an ex took that man out.
Ain't that crazy? And then you can just go
And they
into a
don't belong to
situation.
each other. They
You
don't
could
belong
get
to each
into a
other.
I'm telling you,
You done
you could
moved
get
on with
into a
your life.
situation and don't know why. Wow, it's
Like, it ain't worth it. Be
it's
honest
not.
with people that you want to have
Mhm.
around you. Be
Yep.
honest in general, because it's just easier. Being
It
honest
is.
and your day to day, it keeps you from having to keep up with the lies that you tell.
Mhm.
And yeah, free yourself, whatever that
Free
looks like.
yourself.
Educate yourself, listen to podcasts about things,
Mhm.
because that's the other thing. You don't know what you like and what you don't like sometimes until you've done a thing. And you ain't got to do all the things. You ain't got to go lick a stove to find out if you like your tongue burnt. But you get what I'm saying. There's some
Yeah.
things that you can do safely to figure out if it's something that you like or don't like. And
Mhm.
so allow yourself space to explore that, whatever it looks like, and find community um, that will hold space for you to um, work through a thing, explore a thing, talk through a thing. Different people can serve different purposes for community, but find you some community, some space to talk about a thing, because yeah, none of us have this figured out. None of us. We're all figuring it out. And so instead of trying to live by the rule book of whoever's rules, we don't know who wrote these rules. If it ain't illegal and you ain't hurt nobody and you've gotten consent, live your best life. All of y'all. That's what I want for all of y'all. That's what I want for you, Deb. That's what I want for me. We out here. We living, we're loving, we're being happier, healthier humans because we are doing what's best for us and not what's best for what somebody else told us should be.
Okay.
That's the takeaway. That's all I got.
I like that.
You got any closers?
Well, I was gonna say if y'all was vibing and if you're into getting any type of intuitive readings, you could definitely check out my website at debshealingcornerstone.com. I do in-home care, but only for my local area. So if you have a relative in my local area and you need some type of care for them, you can definitely hit me up on the website as well.
Yes. And as always, the Healing Corner podcast is here every second and fourth Saturday. And once we figure out what next month's topic is going to be about, we'll let y'all know. Until then, like, share, subscribe, tell somebody about a thing. Come back and see us next time. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.